Hi, I'm on Folly Bridge and I was going over the bridge. I had to deliver a message to somebody who lives in a narrowboat on the river, and I realised that I have never shown the view from this angle. So here is the view from this angle, and that is the head of the river pub. Big pub with lots of outside seating, as I've talked about. And these are Salter's steamers. Quite a nice composition. That's the rather less attractive other side of the road. That's Salter's little model boat. And they're one of the two main companies that give cruises to places like Abingdon and Iffley Lock. And there is a Salter's steamer close up. I don't know whether these things are technically steamers or whether they ever were. Is steamer now just a generic name for some sort of large power boat, regardless of what it's powered by, or does it actually imply that there's steam somewhere in the mechanism? Answers on a comment, please, because I genuinely don't know. And I have to say, this looks as though it's aged remarkably badly. I can't help thinking it wasn't like that last time I saw it, which was only a few weeks ago.
So if you put those lights between, fine. If they're not, maybe you're not quite getting fully buried, or you're not quite staying fully buried all the way through. Then as well, you have a tendency to trail your right blade a little bit longer, and so as you're trailing, you're basically taking the run, and that's pulling you. No, you're going into the bank. No, sorry, you're trailing your left blade longer, and that's then obviously turning you as you stop trailing your right blade.
So there we have some rowing training, and I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's a member of one of the university or college rowing crews getting some individual tuition. If you want to see what the rowing crews do once they're taught, then look up my Summer 8 videos, which were round about May the 30th or 31st, where groups of boats assemble into a sort of long strung out line. There are 8 rowers to the boat, plus a cox, and the boats behind have to try to bump the boats in front, and the boats in front have to try to avoid being bumped by the boats behind. And this is all an adaptation to the fact that the Thames is too narrow to fit as many boats as there are Oxford colleges or other racers on at the same time. And these are called bumping races, and there are 3 days in the 5th week of the summer university term where they happen, or is it 4 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. And Saturday I think is the most public because fewer people are at work and probably the most noisy. And I put up 2 videos, one of me walking down the river and then catching some races starting, and the other of me walking up and round to the other side where those boat houses are. And it's the busiest one ever sees, this stretch of the Thames. It's full of boats, dogs, powercraft. I think the powercraft generally told to stick to the middle of the river. Families having barbecues, rowing crews, friends, coaches cycling frantically up and down this towpath shouting instructions, rowers going from those boat houses down to the starting area, which is near Iffley, and then coming back from the starting area at much greater speed. And the champagne, well, it flows like champagne. The Pims flows like Pims, and most of those are in the boathouse bars on the other side of the river. There aren't so many boathouses on this side. And in addition, you have the narrowboat residents, one of whom I was delivering to. And you have a guy who sells carved wood crosses and things about halfway down between here and Donnington Bridge. And you probably have half a dozen other things that I've completely forgotten. But now, as I say, it is much quieter. This is after the end of term, by the way. University summer term, or Trinity as they call it, ended on Friday. That's Christchurch Meadow. And during 8, there was a ferry service operating to get people from one side of the river to the other. And one of the reasons for that is that although it's easy enough to get up here and go all the way back to Folly Bridge, it's not so easy to get off Folly Bridge onto the other bank. You can go all the way round and go through the War Memorial Gardens further up St Aldate's, but if you want to avoid doing that, you have to go behind the head of the river. pub. And then there's a tiny little bridge and 2 Christchurch gates, one at each end. And the gates, or at least one of the gates, actually there may just be one gate, gate into the meadow. The gate into the meadow only admits one person at a time in either direction, so people have to alternate. You go this way, I go that way, you go this way, I go that way. And it takes ages. And you will see that happening in my second Summer 8's video, where somebody gets fed up and just climbs over the fence. Students learn to do that sort of thing. I once climbed over a college back wall carrying a mouse in an optical mouse trap, and I don't mean computer mouse. We'd caught it in the fields. No, we hadn't. We'd caught it in the garden. We'd caught it in the kitchen of the person who made the optical mouse trap. I think it was basically a beam of light which, when broken, caused a bucket, a plastic Tupperware container, to fall on the mouse and imprison it. And then for some reason we thought it would be a good idea to release the mouse in the college garden. So I can't remember what the reasoning was behind that. Those are the boathouses, and they're closed. Photographs. It has been a dry summer and the grass shows it.
Welcome to the world.
there may only be one, or indeed no, student boats on the river. Well, he's going to land at one of the college boathouses, I should think. That is Salter's competitor, Oxford River Cruisers.
Hello. Thank you.
Hi. And I should think you could sell just about every frame of this part of the video as a postcard. How about a brand of chocolates, for example, with Isis. Isis is the local name, the Oxford name for this stretch of the river, the bit of the river that lies within Oxford, and it's said that it comes from the old name Thamesis, just the Essis bit at the end being used. But regardless of the name, yes, Isis chocolates with river scenes like this on the lids of the boxes. I'm not sure what you'd do to make the chocolates special. You could maybe have them in the shape of narrow boats and rowing eights. Those are the boats with the 8 people and the 8 rowers and the cocks. given the amount of Pimm's that flows on Saturday Vates Week, maybe chocolates with a Pimm's filling would be nice. So that'd be either basically gin or flavoured gin, or flavoured gin with lots of pieces of fruit in, and you could vary the fruit. You could have cherries, for example. Though I think I'd prefer cherries, sour cherries anyway, in vodka. There's a drink drunk in various Eastern European countries which takes names like Vișinată in Romanian, and I think it's Vișnoth in Bulgarian, and so on. The Visne root is pervasive. That's basically sour cherries steeped in vodka for about 2 months. It's rather like a Balkan equivalent of sloe gin, and it is lovely. And I recommend it if you happen to be in, for example, Romania. Actually, I must find out whether the Romanian delicatessen in Summertown sells Vișinată. Oh wow, look at those. I was rather worried in case he ran one of them over, but they seem to be okay, and they formed into a sort of V around him.
one thing I didn't bring spares of, so. I'm too attached to this.
There were a few of them on the Charwell that I saw last week when I was doing the How to Get Shade in the Parks video, but that just now was many more. This is the gut, and its main importance is to the rowing crews. In a rowing 8, the rowers face backwards and the cox sits at the back of the boat facing forwards, so the rowers can't actually see where they're going, and they take their directions from the cox or from other rowers nearer him or her. And somewhere like the gut, which bends like this, if you've got two boats coming in opposite directions and one of them tries to cut a corner, that can be quite difficult. Well, it's only just gone summer solstice, but the days are now getting shorter and seeds are appearing, which is a reminder that sadly some things are beginning to be over. Thank you.
Do you want me on the video?
Oh no, I really want Donnington Bridge.
I've got my best t-shirt on.
Yes. Are you inviting me to video it then?
Yes.
Okay. That's very kind of you.
I shouldn't really.
Oh, you look great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Well, there you are. So, yes, I did want Donnington Bridge. Well, I suppose it's fairly elegant, but I just wanted it to show that I'm coming to the end of this particular walk. This is one place where you can get back onto a main road. If I carried straight on, then I'd eventually come to Iffley Lock, and if I then turned left and up a bit to Iffley Village, and a little bit before that is a pub called the Isis Farmhouse Tavern on the other side of the river. So this is me filming from Donnington Bridge on a river which today is surprisingly replete with geese. See you next time.